There have been numerous PlayStation adaptations in and out of development basically since the brand's inception, but with the establishment of PlayStation Productions, we're finally seeing many of PlayStation's most iconic properties hit the big and small screen. And with a slew of announcements over the last couple months, I thought now would be the perfect time to take a look at some of the projects Sony currently has in store for us. Now, I've done several videos covering HBO's The Last of Us series, including my last one covering the show's most recent trailer, so all I'm gonna say is that I think it looks great, and judging from how much we've seen of it, I'm guessing it will be the next release from PlayStation Productions. Currently scheduled for 2023, I think it's a safe bet that the series will debut either in June to tie in with the game's 10th anniversary, or September for Outbreak Day. Twisted Metal might not seem like the most obvious candidate for an adaptation from Sony's catalogue, considering the series has been dormant for the last 10 years, and being a vehicular combat game, story is hardly the focal point here. That being said, the series definitely has a very unique and interesting world. A live-action series for Peacock is currently filming, and has actually managed to attract a very impressive cast. Captain America himself, Anthony Mackie, is set to star, and will be joined by Brooklyn Nine-Nine's Stephanie Beatrice, Scream star Neve Campbell, and Spider-Man 3's Thomas Hayden Church. Wrestler Samoa Joe will be standing in as the series' most recognizable character, Sweet Tooth, with Will Arnett providing his voice. I think it was a safe bet that with the Uncharted movie and The Last of Us TV series, a God of War project wouldn't trail too far behind. And sure enough, Amazon has picked up the rights to the franchise for a series on Prime Video. We don't have too many details currently on the show, but I would imagine it will cover both the Greek and Norse eras of the series, likely through flashbacks. The 2018 game reinvented the series, adding significant layers of depth to Kratos that frankly didn't exist during his Greek years. So I would definitely be excited to see the maturity and nuance of the later game's narrative applied to that era of the series. In terms of casting, Jason Momoa has been a fan favorite choice for Kratos, and I definitely think he would suit the role, but God of War creator David Jaffe's pick of Jimon Hounsou would also be a fantastic choice. You would know that Netflix couldn't allow HBO and Amazon to scoop up all the good PlayStation franchises, so they decided to take a shot at a Horizon series. The Umbrella Academy's Steve Blackman will serve as showrunner, and the series will apparently be titled Horizon 2074, with the story jumping back and forth between the fall of human civilization and development of Project Zero Dawn and Aloy's story in the future. The series will also apparently be set in the same canon as the games, and expand its world rather than adapting, which I'm definitely happy to hear. No word yet on casting, though Rose Leslie has always been a fan pick, considering her Game of Thrones character Ygritte served as the inspiration for Aloy, but I think that may be a bit too on the nose, and personally I'd love to see Anya Taylor-Joy take on the role. One recent announcement that definitely surprised me was the Gran Turismo film. Directed by District 9's Neil Blomkamp, the film will dramatise the real-life story of Jan Mardenborough, a Gran Turismo player who won the 2011 series of GT Academy and went on to become a professional racer. The film will feature David Harbour and Orlando Bloom and is set for August 11th, 2023. A Ghost of Tsushima film is currently in the works, with John Wick director Chad Stahelski at the helm. There's not many details on the project beyond that, but Stahelski has said he wants to film it natively in Japanese with a full Japanese cast, and that Sony is on board with it, which I think is a really cool choice. I made a video a while back about what I'd like to see from this movie, so I'll leave the link in the description if you want to check that out. But one thing I'll say is that given the game's use of its actors' likenesses, I'd like to see as much of the game's cast return as possible, particularly Daisuke Tsuji as Jin, who has expressed enthusiasm for reprising his role for the film. Definitely the most surprising announcement from PlayStation Productions, and probably the one that has me the most intrigued, is the development of a Gravity Rush film. The adaptation is being helmed by Anna Mastro, a prominent TV director whose only film credit I could find was the Disney Plus film Secret Society of the Second Born Royals. Gravity Rush is one of my favourite franchises, and I think by a wide margin, Sony's most underrated. The games have an irresistible charm, from the quirky characters to the fusion of Japanese and French culture for its world, and particularly its oddball humour, which works in large part due to its anime style. I had for a long time hoped the series, which has lied dormant since the commercially disappointing second game, would be resurrected as an anime series, and with Sony's purchase of the anime streaming service Crunchyroll, I had thought that seemed like a possibility, but given the choice of director, it appears this will be a live-action film, so I'm curious if the series' charm will translate. Either way, I'm excited to see it, and I'm hoping that this film will renew interest in the series enough for a third installment. Another surprise was the announcement of a Days Gone film. Given the apparent lack of interest from Sony in developing a sequel, an unusual move considering the game sold quite well, and despite some technical issues and criticisms when it originally launched, has managed to quickly redeem itself through post-launch updates and carved out a dedicated fan base for itself. Apparently Sony still sees potential in the IP as a film. No director has been attached as of yet, though Outlander star Sam Heughan has been attached to play Deacon. Now don't get me wrong, I like Ewan as an actor, and have enjoyed his performances in several films, but I'm confused at the decision not to bring back Sam Witwer for the role. Witwer's performance was a highlight of the game, taking what on paper could have been just a generic biker character and giving him some heart. Regardless, I'm curious to see the direction Sony will take with this film. And like Gravity Rush, I hope the film's success could lead to Sony reconsidering continuing the game's story with a sequel, or at least a comic book series to wrap up the game's awesome cliffhanger. Now, although this hasn't been officially announced, I think it's fairly safe to assume, given the success of the Uncharted movie, that a sequel is on the way, especially considering Sony Pictures CEO Tom Rothman referred to Uncharted as, quote, a new hit movie franchise for the company. The film's post-credit scene indicates the sequel will at least loosely adapt Drake's fortune, with the game's villain Gabriel Roman getting a name drop. Director Ruben Fleischer has expressed interest in returning for a sequel, and mentioned a Thief's End's car chase as a sequence he'd like to adapt. Lastly, speaking of Fleischer, a Jak and Daxter film is in development with him at the helm, with Tom Holland interested in reuniting with Fleischer to play Jak, though Holland has said he wants to play the character in live action, with a darker take on the franchise, produced by A24, which sounds kinda bizarre, but I would definitely be intrigued to see. So that's everything PlayStation Productions has in the pipeline, and with the head of PlayStation Studios, Herman Hulst, hinting that Sony's recent investment in FromSoft may lead to TV and film projects, it seems likely that more announcements are well on the way. What upcoming PlayStation production has you the most excited? Are there any more franchises you'd like to see make the jump to the big or small screen? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe for all things PlayStation. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.